Hello, gentlemen. Jeff Sanchez, children's rights advocate here again. This also comes from a brilliant sociologist named Vilar, who females tried to kill back in the 70s. The emancipated female. There are women who still have jobs or careers at the age of 25 or older. There are a variety of reasons for this. A, the woman is married to a failure. He is not making enough money to provide her with all the useless rubbish she cannot live without. B, the woman cannot have children. Once the man's passions for her have been spent, he can see no reason to continue supporting her. C, the woman is ugly. D, the woman is emancipated. E, the woman is interested in a particular career, and from the start, she renounces her own slaves and her children. Types A and B are closely related. It is the next two groups which are important, for an ugly woman is often considered to be emancipated. And this is false. The chance of meeting someone in the last category, a woman who renounces comfort and serfs for intelligent reasons, let alone for a sense of what is fair, is rare indeed. Let us consider the ugly woman. A woman is ugly when she is unattractive to men. That is, when her secondary sexual characteristics are underdeveloped or insufficiently advertised. And because there is an absence in her features of a baby look, a woman of this type works for the same reason as a man, because there is no one else to do it for her. Yet, where a man has to keep a wife and children with his income, she works for herself alone. She would never use the money she earns to finance the life of a man. This type of woman is quite intelligent. True, at the beginning, she will have permitted her intelligent capabilities to become atrophied, because she, like all other women, has been following her mother's example, and because she too will want to acquire a working slave. But as she gets older, she sees her chances dwindle, and one day she finds herself faced with the fact that there is nothing else for her to do but remember and re-erect the last remnants of what was once her mind and make the best of it. Some women in this group achieve a very real success that frequently attain high honors simply because intelligent women are a rare species, and they are often journalists, authors, politicians, doctors, or lawyers. What is more, they render a great service to the exploiters in the suburban villas. Look at these women. Would we say we could do as well, but we renounce it all for you? The man put off by these few examples of intellectual womanhood is only too glad to cling to his imbecile. That these intelligent blue stockings are ugly, better lacking in charm or in some unwomanly. And his preference for these lobotomized creatures lying in his bed will increase 1,000-fold. After all, if necessary, if he becomes really desperate, he can always find a man to talk to. Not even an ugly woman, despite her success, ever wants to give up her special feminine status entirely. She seems to take it for granted that the world should admire her as a kind of eighth wonder of the world. A woman who has actually achieved personal success will emphasize her femininity in every possible way until it becomes almost obscene. She will appear on television and give interviews to the press whenever possible, her flabby bosom hanging over her large desk, complaining how hard it is for her as a woman to maintain her status in a man's world. Come on. Be sure that as it may, she is compared to a normal female exploiter comparatively respectful and honest. The fact that this honesty has been forced upon her, you have only to look at her face to realize why she is so successful, is another matter altogether. There is no virtue in ugliness. Things become rather more complicated when one comes to consider the case of the so-called emancipated woman. The first three categories of women can easily be tempted away from their work by bribery, and this includes the ugly woman before she has become successful. An emancipated woman, however, never works for money. She must by definition have been attractive even as a young girl, and therefore have had slaves with good incomes at hand. Therefore, it is only the beautiful woman who can be emancipated. An ugly woman, like a man, is never in this position. No one has ever attempted to corrupt her, since she, again, like man, has nothing to emancipate herself from. She has no choice but to work. The emancipated woman has all the accessories of her average housewife: a comfortable apartment, the necessary status symbols of her protege, and children, seldom more than one or two. Though the difference lies in the fact that her sphere of entertainment is not limited to the home or the masquerade given by her own sex. She entertains herself best by undertaking some inferior form of drudgery, where she is surrounded by a fairly large audience. We find her wandering the ellery along the corridors of publishing houses newspaper offices. We meet her in the anterooms of film producers, television executives, and theatrical managers. She is a production assistant of an entrepreneur. She will be found behind the counter of a travel agency, in a jeweler's or an antique dealer's, or a boutique. In fact, anywhere where she can meet rich and interesting people. And her money, that is spent almost entirely on her elaborate mask, which keeps her with it and up to date at her place of work. In fact, the emancipated woman is just as stupid as the others, but she does not want people to think so. If she mentions housewife, it is with utter contempt, as she has a job which would not be unworthy of a man. She believes that this very fact alone makes her intelligent. But she is confusing cause with effect. Men work only because they have to, and not because they are intelligent. Most men would make proper use of their intelligence if they were free of financial obligations, as free as housewives, for example. A woman living at home has, in fact, far better opportunities of enjoying a stimulating intellectual life than one who is stuck behind a typewriter and a dictaphone. The work chosen by an emancipated woman rarely involves effort or responsibility, although she makes herself believe it involves both. As far as she's concerned, it is satisfying, stimulating, and keeps her from stagnating. She simply could not exist without it. Yet if one gets down to the facts, she is never really dependent upon it. Unlike an ugly woman, she could give it up at any time. She never works without a life-saving apparatus. The moment there is any sign of difficulty on the horizons, up jumps a man from somewhere in the wings and rushes in to save her. This type of woman finds it unfair that she does not get along as fast as a man. But on the other hand, she never allows herself to become part of the murderous rat race. The compliment she utters is always the same. Even as an emancipated woman, one simply is not given the same chances as a man. Instead of fighting for her chances on the spot, she runs off covered in makeup like a clown and looking like a Christmas tree to yell for yet more women's rights and women's equality. At one of the meetings held by her protege, it would never occur to her that she alone, and not man, is the cause of this unequal state of affairs. She, woman, with her total lack of interest, her stupidity and her venality, her unreliability and her ridiculous masquerade, and her eternal pregnancies, and above all, because of her merciless manipulation of man. How could she have possibly caused this situation? Please, wake up. Take care.